I decided to attempt an extremely tedious challenge for no other purpose than your pure entertainment. And I guess mine too, since I've been very sick recently. I haven't found much to do besides reading. But whilst I was reading, I was subtly thinking of video ideas. Then, boom, it hit me. Like a little light bulb went off. Ding! I came up with the most and definitely useless, unproductive things in a very long time. So without further ado, I introduce you to the Steam Aesthetic Challenge. Okay, so you might be wondering, how is this challenge going to work? Let me explain. I will be using the website aesthetics.fandom.com, an encyclopedia of all the different aesthetics, and they actually have a list of all the aesthetics in alphabetical order. That's great, we'll use that for the challenge. If you don't know what an aesthetic is, the website states that the word aesthetic originated as the philosophical discussion about what beauty is, how we should approach it, and why it exists. It goes on to say that aesthetics have now come to mean a collection of images, colors, objects, music, and writings that creates a specific emotion, purpose, and community. There are hundreds of different aesthetics, and a primary example of one is cyberpunk. Cyberpunk being a high-tech, low-life digital dystopia, there are various pieces of media on cyberpunk in the form of art, movies, songs, and more. If you are interested in learning more about aesthetics, I did some independent studying several years ago and wrote a philosophical expository about the philosophy of aesthetics and its presence in our society. I encourage you to check it out if you're interested, and I'll leave it in the description. Now that we understand a bit more about what an aesthetic is, let's talk about the challenge more in depth. Going back to that list from earlier, we'll use the letter C here as an example. I'll put all of the aesthetics that begin with the letter C into a wheel. Then, whatever aesthetic it lands on, I will have to research and find a game on Steam that fits its description. Let's just say the C wheel landed on cyberpunk. We talked about what cyberpunk was earlier, a digital dystopia. So now I would have to research and find a game that fits into the description of a digital dystopia. This is so difficult. I wonder what I could possibly choose. What about the one and only Cyberpunk 2077? I mean, come on, it's in the name.
Check this out.
This is going to be a video series, meaning I will be doing letters A through D in this video, and the series will have a total of 6 parts. If you're still confused, just continue to watch and I'm sure it'll all make sense. Without further ado though, let's get started. Alright, so these are all of the aesthetics that fall into the A category. They all seem pretty normal. Oh, wait a second. I spoke too soon.
Ah! Good God!
Alright, this is the first wheel. It has all of the aesthetics from the A category plugged in. Now we just have to spin it. Alright, here we go. I'm quite nervous. Atom Punk, okay. I know a little bit about Atom Punk just based off the name. You can kind of infer what it is, but that's about it. Hopefully it's not too difficult to find a game on. I guess we'll see. The best way to describe Atom Punk to you is the view of the future from the perspective of the 1950s. So think like the beginning of Fallout 4. If you've never played the game, you've got this all-American traditional family living in a lively suburban home. The furniture is brightly colored, there's this old CRT TV, the family wears very conventional 1950s clothing, but then you have Codsworth.
Good morning, Mum. Your coffee, 173.5 degrees Fahrenheit, brewed to perfection.
Codsworth is a robotic butler, but he's something we wouldn't even have in the modern day. There are lots of other futuristic elements, and often you've got the prominence of nuclear war and the nuclear family. The beginning of Fallout 4 is the precise delineation of Atom Punk, but I'm not gonna use it. It's just too easy, and I'd rather hunt for something that fits it just as good, if not better. Took me a bit of searching, but I found the perfect game to fit the Atom Punk aesthetic, and it's a social deception game, which, if you remember from my last video, those are my absolute favorites. The game is called First Class Trouble, and it's $15 on Steam. There are 6 residents aboard a luxurious 50s style ship floating through space, but 2 of these residents are actually personoids who are robots disguised as humans looking to sabotage you. The style of this game, as far as cosmetics, atmosphere, music, and environment, all perfectly scream Atom Punk. I've actually played this game for right about 40 hours now, and I love it so much. The game has a lot of cosmetic options and various DLCs. This is my character here. She's wearing this cute runway dress, as well as a pause cat mask I got from a Twitch drop. I'm excited for the Halloween season because I'm sure they're going to be doing some fun Twitch drops. Then you have the Roomba, a flying robot that you turn into after you died, so you can fly around the map and spectate everyone else.
He's a personoid. Yes, he's a personoid. Okay.
Push him to 5.
Shit. Someone save me, please.
Save me.
There you go, bro.
Okay.
Yay, thank you.
That's one.
He made it. Not you. Yeah.
A few moments later.
Oh wait, this is the place that I got killed. Recently, when I played with Vella, she got me killed. She looked at the log. It's extreme. It's extreme.
It's extreme. It's extreme. It's extreme. It's extreme. Extreme's the second one. Kill him.
I forgive you. There you go. I forgive you.
Alright, here's the recap for letter A. The aesthetic that I got was Atom Punk, and the game that I chose to match the aesthetic was First Class Trouble. How do you guys think I did? Alright guys, it's B-Will time. Here we go. I'm excited. Biopunk. Oh, okay, I know what Biopunk is, and I know exactly what game I'm gonna choose. This is perfect. Great pick. I'm happy with this. I gotta go get everything ready to show you guys. Alright, so let's break it down. Biopunk is considered a subgenre of cyberpunk, and they are close in relativity. However, biopunk focuses more on biotechnology rather than the focus on information technology like cyberpunk. Themes include things like genetic engineering and depicts body modification, not by cybernetics, but by biotechnology. There is often also oppressive and corrupt government agencies that work to manipulate the human DNA. My game of choice to fit this aesthetic is, you probably guessed it, BioShock. The original BioShock is $20 on Steam, and I have to say I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I have a lot of merch from the BioShock collection. I played this game for the first time several years ago, and since then it's always remained in my top 3. Now for a little background. BioShock takes place in a city beneath the Atlantic, built by businessman Andrew Ryan, meant to set up as a utopia for the scientific and artistic elites, free from censorship. Then a smuggler and mobster by the name of Frank Fontaine discovered Adam, a substance created by sea slugs. It quickly became the most sought-after product due to its ability to alter a person's genetic code completely. However, Rapture citizens began to depend on the substance, and they discovered some horrific side effects, including violent dementia and mutation. Next, we have the Little Sisters, who are young girls that have been genetically altered and mentally conditioned to reclaim Adam from corpses around Rapture. Frank Fontaine created his Little Sisters orphanage to exploit the young children as his supply of host for the Adam production. Accompanying the Little Sisters are the Big Daddies. They're enhanced human beings who have had their skin and organs grafted into an armored diving suit. Their primary purpose being to protect the Little Sisters, who almost always have one by their side. Back to Frank. The Adam posed risk to exposing Rapture to the outside world, and Ryan was not having this. He ordered his security to kill Fontaine. Not long after, a man by the name of Atlas led a working-class revolution, prompting a civil war that nearly destroys Rapture and caused most of the surviving humans to become splicers, addicted to Adam and left hideously deformed as well as hopelessly insane. Closing out our section here with the recap, the aesthetic that I got was biopunk, and the game that I chose to match the aesthetic was, of course, unsurprisingly, Bioshock. How do you guys think I did? Let me know. Okay, so this will is so big. It has over 70 aesthetics plugged in, which makes me very nervous. Yeah, so one of them is Crackhead 2, and I don't know what game I would choose for that, like GTA Pedestrians. I have no idea. Okay, the wait is over. It's time to spin the wheel of aestheticality. I hope you got the reference. No way! Oh, we got cottagecore. Okay, this is so easy. I know some of you wanted to see me struggle, but not today. We got cottagecore, which is very, very popular, so I'm happy. Cottagecore has become extremely popular in recent years, filling people's social media pages with cozy cottages. The aesthetic idolizes the rural lifestyle, typically in a European countryside. Activities of the aesthetic include things like baking bread, growing fruits, veggies, and plants. Cottagecore romanticizes the Eurocentric farming life, which definitely raises some controversy, but I can appreciate the agricultural aspects as well as the respect for traditionalism that cottagecore displays. As far as the visual aspects, we have a neutral color palette, rustic decor, floral wallpaper, and houseplants. Oh, and you'll certainly find some warm, freshly baked bread somewhere in a cottagecore kitchen. I appreciate cottagecore because it highlights natural and independent living, spending time outdoors, doing activities that require patience and practice, a break from the burning media and perpetual scrolling that is pushed on us. It feels like an earthly escape. The flowy dresses, running into a countryside sunset, now that is cottagecore. Before I showcase my game of choice, I want to quickly mention a few underrated honorable mentions. First we have Maltime, which is supposed to be out later this year, Calico for $12, and lastly we have Lemon Cake for $15. Alright, now for my game of choice. That game is Stardew Valley and it's $15 on Steam. Not only is the game incredible and fits cottagecore almost identically, it also has a beautiful developmental story. The man behind the game, Eric Barone, spent 4 years, 12 hours a day and 7 days a week, solo developing, teaching himself all of the necessary skills he needed to produce the game. Then, within 2 months of its release, it sold more than 1 million copies, and today it sits at over 20 million copies sold. A story of true determination and success. It's also safe to say he's doing pretty well for himself. Okay, I want you to picture this. You are working tirelessly for a computer in a cramped cubicle that only sees numbers. Every day is just a monotonous copy of the last and... Wait a second. What is that? A letter? It's from your grandfather. You have just received a cottage and a piece of land owned by him? Oh, what a coincidence. I guess it's time to leave this old boring life behind and start anew in Pelican Town. So, Stardew Valley is a farming simulation game that takes place in the lively Pelican Town. You can play it alone or with friends. Starting on a large, overgrown piece of land with nothing but some old tools and a few seeds, it's your job, yes you, to turn it around. Raise a variety of animals, catch fish, or other surprises. Tend to crops, craft items, and so much more. Pelican Town is home to over 30 residents whom you can befriend, each with their own unique personality. 12 of which you can work to date. Maybe you'll find someone to start a family with. Oh, I thought I found the one. He took me out on a boat ride, kissed me against the sea, and then, well, I saw him with another girl the next day, so that ended. Aside from getting cheated on though, there's lots else to do, trust me. Fight dangerous monsters, or heck, why not just raise them? Encounter valuable treasures underground, customize your character, cottage, and playstyle, don't forget, with hundreds of options to choose from. Run a vineyard, and make an aged wine. Or meat. That not your thing? What about raising fish? Yeah, you can totally do it all. There are truly endless possibilities. This sounds like an advertisement. It's actually really good. Stardew Valley is just one of those games that you'll play for hours on end, and there's always going to be an objective that you're working towards. Plus, there are a ton of mods available, so you'll really never get bored. My favorite parts of this game include the changing of the seasons, which provides new crops, quests, and items. I love all the different holidays, and of course the characters who are responsive, emotional, and I mean, come on, they've got their own birthdays too. It fits cottagecore great and all, but if I can recommend any game on this list to you, this is the one you really have to try. But be careful because there are several secrets and strange encounters hidden throughout Pelican Town. Alright guys, you know the drill. The aesthetic that I got was cottagecore, and the game that I chose to match this aesthetic was Stardew Valley. Alright guys, this is the last and final wheel for this video. I hope we get dark fantasy, but let's see. Oh, Dark Academia. Okay, we were really close to dark fantasy, but this is still super good. I'm happy with this. This would have been in my top 5 anyways, so yep, let's get started. Dark Academia, which can also be referred to as Gothic Academia, is an academic aesthetic that showcases Gothic studies and draws inspiration from the classic Greek arts. It is deeply infused with Gothic elements and concepts of death. It's known for finding beauty in the darkest places. Some of these symbolic staples of the aesthetic include large libraries, prestigious universities, images of autumn, Gothic architecture, and studying by candlelight on a rainy day. The aesthetic usually involves intense themes including literary tragedy, discussion of the meaning of life, heartbreak, escapism, and death. After researching, I noticed a trend with the actual art pieces associated with the aesthetic, and they remind me of my favorite art period, aka the Romantic period, specifically Dark Romanticism, which is actually an aesthetic itself. The art from Dark Romanticism often reflects on the fascination with the irrational, the demonic, and the grotesque. As we've learned, it makes sense why these images are associated with Dark Academia. Much like cottagecore, it has become extremely popular in recent years. I will say though that after doing research on the aesthetic, I see a lot of people romanticizing the studying of literature and the arts solely because of the media portrayal of dark academia, and it's worth addressing that studying these topics requires critical thinking and should not be glorified as a trend. Moral of the story, don't mistake an aesthetic for a lifestyle, and do what you love. I thought this would be difficult to find a game for, but luckily in my search I came across The Council for $15 on Steam. This is an episode-based game where your choices reflect the outcome. There are a total of 5 episodes, but the first episode is completely free and has quite a bit of gameplay to let you try out the game before purchasing it. There are also a total of 13 possible endings, some good, some bad, depending on the choices that you make. The Council is a narrative adventure where your choices and character growth really matter. You need to make hard-hitting decisions and develop an array of skills that will impact how the story unfolds. Meet characters who each hold dark secrets whilst you try to uncover dire truths. The game takes place in 1793 and you play as a secret society member who is invited to Lord Mortimer's castle at the coast of England. There are several prestigious guests attending, but wait. Word is your mother's just gone missing on the island. Alright, well I guess it's time to start questioning people. But be careful because each character has psychological vulnerabilities and immunities. Consequences of your choices are permanent and may result in, well, physical disfigurements or mental traits that help or hinder the rest of your adventure. I liked this game a lot. I really grew to love the characters and the puzzle solving. After the first 3 chapters though, it takes a weird turn that I didn't like, but I still enjoyed playing it and I think that it portrays dark academia very well. For example, you have a large library that's filled top to bottom with books. We've got the dark wooden furniture and lots of Greek art such as this Fall of Phaeton painting and this massive Zeus statue. I've also seen so many dark paintings, some of which I had actually displayed earlier, like this one which is called The Nightmare, and a more gruesome one, Saturn devouring his son. It would take so long to dissect all of the different elements that correlate with this game and dark academia, but I was so surprised seeing visual pieces used to discuss the aesthetic actually incorporated into the game itself. I personally think that I did the best matching here. Let me know what you think. And that brings me to my last and final recap, for this video only of course. We'll have more. So the aesthetic that I got was dark academia, and the game that I chose to match this aesthetic was The Council. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if I should continue this video series and do the rest of the alphabet. Also, I would love to know your favorite aesthetic from this video. Mine was personally Atom Punk because it combines 2 very different time periods. Thanks again for stopping by, and I will see you again very soon.